capability of being able to tap into the quantum field and use that information. So the information in the quantum field on enzymes, if we're talking about enzymes, is information that can enter the body instantaneously. It avoids the digestive system, it avoids the circulatory system, and it goes directly to work in the cell. So what does it do? So if you have in your cell already, you might have one of the enzymes. It could be anyone. It helps that enzyme to become more reactive or more productive. And then when you supplement on top of that, you kind of supercharge it. So now you're getting much more benefit from the enzymes that you take in if you use the quantum field to make that stronger, that's for lack of a better word. So I like to work in the quantum field and also with supplementation. It doesn't mean you have to supplement, but if you do, I think you're going to get a bigger benefit, okay?
Yeah, okay.
So take a look, when you have a chance, take a look at this panel when it comes to you, and you're going to see a list of enzymes. And so enzymes are really essential for a lot of different things that go on in the body. I mean, for digesting food, for muscles, for nerves, for a lot of different things. So you want to be sure that you are going out there and taking a look and see if you can come up with a good product. Okay, you don't have to, but I do. Okay, go ahead, Pam. You had more questions than that.
Yeah. Let's see here. Acid reflux. Does
No, a lot of causes. It could be a lot of causes for acid reflux. The valve that goes between the stomach and the esophagus could be a problem. Have you had it looked at?
Yes, I have had that checked.
You've had it
I have a hiatal hernia, so it does let the acid come back up. But I was wondering if you can get acid reflux because you're having a reaction to a food that you might be sensitive to.
There's a lot of reasons, okay, and we'll have to get Dr. Bruce on here, who sometimes has an adjustment that he can talk about that helps that. Your stomach may not be acid enough. Do you take any kind of antacids?
No.
You don't?
No.
Okay.
I don't. Well, I just put up with it.
I might suggest that you try betaine HCl. Okay.
What's it called?
Betaine, B-E-T-A-I-N-E, HCl.
Oh, okay.
Betaine HCl helps to increase stomach acid. And we find in a lot of cases the reason that the people have issues is because they're not digesting protein. Their stomach is not acid enough. So it's got to go one of two ways. And you get it going both ways. So some of it may come back up and burn. But that might be something you can try. And if you don't get any benefit or it appears to be worse, then you might want to not take it any longer. But I'd try betaine HCl.
Okay. All right. Okay, that was one. Let me see here. When you're not processing your food in your stomach, can it, because it's not getting digested properly in the stomach, and then when it goes into the intestinal tract, can that create the problem with leaky gut?
Sure. And what happens with leaky gut? Okay, a lot of times we find that leaky gut. Have you ever had a course of antibiotics?
Yeah, I've had antibiotics, yes.
Okay. Well, antibiotics are against all biotics. They can kill friendly and they kill unfriendly bacteria. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so when you have a course of or have courses of antibiotics, what happens is yeast develops. And yeast is a plant, and it has tendrils. They can go through the intestinal wall, make little holes in there like a sieve. And when that happens, the food leaks into the interstitial fluids and tissue, and then it becomes the job of the immune system to digest that invader. So what I would do is, number one is try to get rid of yeast if it's yeast, and yeast is a plant. So what enzyme would you use to get rid of a plant?
A plant-based one?
Well, yeah, but you use cellulose, okay?
Oh, cellulose.
Cellulose. So if you take a course of cellulose, if you can find cellulose, between meals, okay? when there's nothing down there, and the cellulose goes to work and actually eats the yeast. So you do that, and then you can repopulate with probiotics, okay?
Right.
And prebiotics. And so that solves that problem often.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for the insight.
And you had more questions on the gallbladder. What I was going to tell to you, have you had your gallbladder, you say it's lazy, but do you have stones in there?
No, I just, 3 weeks ago, I was right before the corona outbreak, I had to go to the ER on a Friday night, and they did a sonogram, and I don't have any stones, but they think that it's lazy or it's not functioning, so they want me to go get the test where they give you the stuff that makes you feel like you've eaten a greasy cheeseburger to see how it's going to react. But since with the coronavirus, there's nobody doing those tests right now, so I haven't.
Yeah, right now it's anything that's not an emergency is not being handled. It's been put
right.
off. Okay.
So, but no gallstones, no gallstones at all.
All right. Well, we don't have to worry about them. You know, a lot of times people will try to do a gallbladder flush, okay, where they go into all kinds of contortions and take all kinds of stuff that you wouldn't want to take and have to lay sideways and do this and that. I'm not a fan of any of that. I would prefer to dissolve them, you know.
Right. And what's the best way to dissolve a gallstone? If you had one.
I like two ways. There's an herb you can buy called Chanca piedra, means stone crusher or rock crusher, and you just take drops of that and mix it with water. It's easy to get. You find it in most health food stores or online. And the other way that I've used is hydrangea root cut and sifted, and apple cider, not apple vinegar, but apple cider. And you cook the two together, and it would taste really woodsy, but it has a tendency. This is old natural medicine. You know, they used this 100 years ago, and what it will do is dissolve stones, all types of stones, kidney stones, gallstones, crepitus, all different types of stones. And sometime, if we have the need, we'll get that formula out to somebody, to Karen, and she can pass it along.
Okay. No, that's good to know because my husband gets kidney stones.
yeah, and they're painful. Yeah, this doesn't discriminate. Any kind of stone, it'll go after, and people like the taste. You know, you take it for a week or two, and then you take a week or two off, and you do it again. It tastes kind of like apple cider, but it tastes like an aged apple cider. It's really good.
Wow. Well, I know red raspberry is good for kidney stones too. That kind of relaxes, I guess, the tube. You know, so that the kidney stone can pass, but I've never heard of anything that actually dissolved it. So that's interesting. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else?
Let me see here.
We're going down your list.
Yep. A ulcer, a stomach ulcer. When you get stomach, are they related to digestion or not?
Could be. That's kind of above my pay grade.
Okay.
You're gonna have to go find the reason why. I'm not sure I can answer that one.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Because I just was going down and listing all the different problems that I've had with my stomach and my gallbladder and my, different scenarios, and I was trying to think of good questions to ask you because I've been puzzled about this, and most of the doctors don't really want to get into it. Dig into it.
We look at it from a different point of view, thinking that these are the things that were done 100 years ago. And we still practice, not practice, but we still do that up here, because we kind of live in a really secluded place.
Well, not only that, but God did give us everything on this earth to take care of us and to heal us. It's just we need to know how to use it.
Genesis 1 and 9. Yeah, I don't want to get too off track, but you're correct. And what we did over the last couple of days, I think I did this in a day or two, but we put together a panel. Of course, all of this lingo is new to me because I've not done this before. I've used the quantum infinity, and now using the to genius, starting to learn how to use that. But I've had great success using it in the quantum field. As a matter of fact, sometimes I'll use it, and we will identify exactly or close where the problem is. You know, it might, and it's almost, I don't know, it's kind of hard to put a handle on how that works. But that's the quantum field. The quantum field, it's sort of like the growing field of miracles. I mean, you can go out there and make changes at lower than the cellular level. You can make changes in information that your body reads. And this information is amazing because, like I said before earlier, it bypasses everything. You don't even have to go through the receptors on the cells. It goes directly into the cell instantaneously and goes to work. There was a case of a lady who had symptoms of vitamin C deficiency. And no matter how much vitamin C she supplemented with, I believe she was using ascorbic acid, she would present these symptoms. So by giving her in the quantum field vitamin C, she was able to reduce the symptoms and go to all natural vitamin C, which could be rose hips, or it could be camu camu, or whatever it was, and she no longer had those symptoms. Now, the only change that happened was we gave her the imprint or the information on vitamin C, and that made the big change. So can it happen? It happens. Can it happen? It does happen. So we put together a panel based on the fact that these are the things that your body needs in digestion. There may be more, there may be less, but I couldn't include everything, because if I did, I don't know how big that panel would be, but I included what I thought was important, which were digestive enzymes, and you're going to find a list of digestive enzymes there. And the primary reason I think it's important is because of the food we eat. A lot of it is processed, and we don't get the benefit of the natural enzymes, which are so important to our body because it helps our body process that food. On top of that, we have a heads up over everybody else because we can enter the quantum field and take that information and help us to use the food that we eat much more effectively, and then we get the benefit of that. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Good. It's good.
Right. So when you see your panel, you're going to see quite a few enzymes in there. It's not every enzyme that's available, but the list would go on and on and on. Another thing that we included was amino acids, and there are 9 essential amino acids, and then another 11 that are not essential, but important to have. And I like to see people get these amino acids, at least the whole complement, in the same day, at least the essential ones for sure. And it gets difficult because people have a lifestyle. You know, some people are vegetarians, some people are vegans, some people are meat eaters, and we want those amino acids, at least the essential ones, to be in the day that we are in. We want them to have all of those. So there is no perfect food, where you can get them all, particularly if you're vegetarian. But there is a food that can give you most of them all the time, and that's eggs. So we like people to use eggs as much as possible. And then we listed the amino acids there so that, again, when we go to the quantum field, we can request that information to help our body process these amino acids. Any question on amino acids? They're actually the building block, okay? The amino acids is the building block of protein. No questions? So we move on, okay? Prebiotics. Any clue as what a prebiotic is? And I forgot to put an important one in there. What do you think? What's a prebiotic? Why would you want prebiotics?
Preventative, isn't it?
What's that?
Wouldn't it be preventative?
Well, prebiotics are actually the food that probiotics live on, okay? It's a non-reactive starch. It's a non-insoluble fiber. And you're familiar with chicory. You may be familiar with inulin. You may be familiar with artichokes. You may be familiar with different things. But all of these are prebiotics. So prebiotics are the fertilizer that you use to grow probiotics. And there's even one called tiger nut, and I became familiar with that because the tiger nut flour, we had an issue here with digestion and probiotics. And so we went and got this flour, and you make like almost like a, what do they call that thing? That cornmeal, like a cornmeal cake, you know. And it's delicious, but it really helps the probiotics. Now, a lot of people say you don't need probiotics. It's a sham. You don't really need them at all because you know, your body, if you have a healthy gut, you're going to have everything you need in there. Who has a healthy gut? I'm not familiar with too many people that do. And of course, the reason, again, is because of the fact that the environment we live in, the fact that we've had courses of antibiotics. And when you have these things, they destroy the probiotics, and then it leads to what we talked about a little bit before, IBS. You know, you got this back and forth or irritable bowel system and syndrome, and depending on what part of the bowel is affected, you could have diarrhea and you could be constipated. So we want to have establish a healthy environment for probiotics to grow in our body. So as much poo-poo as there is on probiotics, what I've found is that if you supplement with them, the gut is going to be much healthier. So we included many of the probiotics and many of the prebiotics. I forgot one prebiotic I should have put in there, and that was banana, the simplest one of all. And it's a tremendous prebiotic. It will help to grow the friendly bacteria your body needs.
Really?
So I can go on and on, but you can read all this stuff. I mean, this is information that I put together that you're going to be able to take a look at. And then if you decide, like I do, to make a purchase of supplements, you'll see here the ones you might want to have in those, or as many. I mean, you can't get them all in one supplement. So you take the important ones and the ones you feel are important. If when you go there and look, you can go in and you Google, you know, what each one of these do if you choose. I just didn't have the room to print it all, so you don't have it all there. And then, of course, I went on to what other things might you want to do? Well, first of all, you might want to be in a peaceful environment when you eat. That's important. I like the idea of pure water, and I like to harmonize pure water. And I like Al Peterson's Kale and Clay. That helps. And I also like salt. I think people should take salt with their meals, but I don't think table salt is the one you should have. I think either Celtic, sea salt, or the pink Himalayan. And the reason is people say, well, salt, you know, it's going to increase my blood pressure. It's going to do this, it's going to do that. No, it's not. Okay, it does a lot of other things. What it does is when you get salt in there, it increases the integrity of the cell. In other words, the osmotic pressure in the cell. So cells tend to get out of shape. You know, they're not the shape they're supposed to be because they're lacking in trace minerals. So if you use salt, what happens is the osmotic pressure, the size of the cell, the shape of the cell changes so that things can get in more easily and out more easily. You can take in the food, take in the nutrients, and take out the garbage much more quickly. So salt is something that I really think people are lacking and should have more of. And good water. You know, like I said, water, I always use, even though I have a well here, it's 660 feet deep in granite. I mean, we have good water, nice and cold, coming out of rocks. Probably rained 50 years ago. It went down through the ground, got filtered out. It's good. But I like, for myself, I like Evian. I like to drink Evian. I think that's great water. And then, of course, I harmonize it with Karen's program for harmonizing water, and drink lots of it. Any other questions?
Do you know anything about the Berkey water filter? Is it a good?
Yeah, I have one in case of emergency. It's a good filter. It takes out, I think they claim 99% of pollutants, perhaps. And I think everybody should have it. You know, if you have a power outage or power shortage, you can take water out of a puddle and filter it, or in my case, out of a stream. You know, and I have a stream on my property, and I can take that water that goes through everybody's pasture. You know, where they have animals there, and filter that water and drink it. So Berkey's great. You should have a Berkey filter. Or this is straw. I forget what they call the straw now. They have them in the sporting goods stores. You can actually scoop up water out of your creek or out of a puddle and sip on this thing. I think it's called Life Straw. The water goes through that, comes out the other end in your mouth. Really good.
I just ate some tiger nuts. How many a day should I eat?
Well, tiger nuts are tough because they're so hard. We even tried to boil them. So it's up to you how many you should eat. I get the flour, okay? I don't get the nuts, and I've tried the nuts. You know, you try to chew on one of those, and you'll be visiting your dentist. What you might want to get is the flour, and there are recipes online. I'd have to, I can't think of the name of the company right now, but you can use the flour to make different types of things, like cakes or whatever. And that's how I do it. And it's great. It's delicious. And I think everybody would enjoy it. A little expensive, but that would be the way to use tiger nuts.
And,
not many people know what they are, you know. So.
Yeah, I just happened to just eat maybe about 7 before I came into this group.
Really? Well, good for you.
Are dehydrated banana chips a good prebiotic?
Sure. It's a banana. Yeah. And prebiotics are great. I mean, most people don't think about that. They think about probiotics, okay? Well, like I said, prebiotics are the fertilizer for probiotics. So if you want a healthy garden of flora, of bacteria in your gut, then use prebiotics. I gave you a list of them on that panel, so you can take a look at them. Panel's simple. There's not a lot to talk about on this. It's just basically the ingredients that you're going to find in supplements. And all you have to do is take a look at what it is, go out and get a supplement. And I don't advocate any supplement. I don't care which one it is. You can do that and use it with your Quantum Infinity or the Genius, and request that information from the quantum field, and you'll see wonderful benefits. I mean, I've seen benefits. People overnight almost making changes. Any questions? I got a half an hour to go.
I got here late. Where do we get the panel?
Pardon me?
I got here late.
Got here late. What?
Is there some handout that you gave?
There's since you came here, if you have the Quantum Infinity or one of the devices, or even if you don't, we can send to you, if you contact Karen, the panel that I've created to help your body to digest food, the different things that you need, or a good way to look at it. And it works both ways. It'll work in the quantum field, and it'll also work if you supplement, and it works better if you do both. So we don't request or require you to do anything, but I would use both the Quantum Infinity or the Genius, and at the same time do the supplementation. So when I spoke last week, we talked about some of the things you need to be preventative in a time like this. Not to go out there and this is not any kind of a cure. It's just a preventative measure. We talked about the immune system and the different things you need. And so one of the things that we talked about was a couple of things. We talked about vitamin A, vitamin D. We talked about zinc, and we talked about a few other ingredients, fulvic humic acid and iodine in the form of kelp. And I've gotten reports back from people that I've shared this formulation with, not necessarily on that call last week, but in other formats. And it's kind of a general thing, but it works great. So we like to put out that kind of information where we can be of service and be of help. And you can order. All of this stuff is still available online. You have to do a little a little looking, but I did find zinc. I did find vitamin A. Vitamin A was a little difficult to get, vitamin D3. And people are asking me, well, can I use vitamin D2 if I don't find vitamin D3? You can, but the only thing they have in common is the D. I mean, vitamin D2 is an analog of vitamin D3. It doesn't do the same thing. So vegetarians who are insistent on the fact that they have no animal at all definitely do not get the benefits of vitamin D3 by taking vitamin D2. So it's not the same at all. Anything else? And of course, you need the iodine. Have to have iodine to activate vitamin A.
What are your thoughts about the carnivore diet?
The carnivore diet?
Yes.
I've never given it much thought. I like to balance the diet. I don't. At least for me, I'm not a vegan. I'm not a vegetarian, and I'm not just a carnivore. I like to balance it. I prefer vegetables. My daughter and son-in-law are vegetarians. However, I found that trying to prepare those meals takes a long time, and you don't necessarily get the B12. So, if you're not including meat in your diet, then try to think about supplementing with vitamin B12, because as we age, and vegetarians in particular, who are lacking B12, can begin to present what looks like symptoms of dementia. So we want to be sure that we're getting enough vitamin B12. But the carnivore diet, not bad. Today I went to, I live in North Carolina. Today I went to a barbecue smokehouse, and had beef brisket. I never had so good. It was like a half a pound of barbecued beef brisket on Texas toast with onions and tomatoes and all that good stuff, and great barbecue sauce. So would I give that up if I had to? But I'm not going to choose to, okay? Any other questions? It doesn't have to necessarily be about the diet. You got me? You might as well ask them.
What's the difference between chelated zinc and zinc?
A chelated zinc has an amino acid hooked up to it, and so it's easier to get into the cell, okay? Mm-hmm. Zinc, I'm not sure the form of what form zinc I just bought, but chelated is actually, I would believe, a better way to take zinc, okay?
Okay, thank you.
And that could be from magnesium or anything else, anything that has otherwise the body has to go through the gyrations of trying to make it absorbable. And so when you buy it chelated, it's more absorbable. Now, of course, the best way is any form of organic, like when you get sea vegetables and when you take fulvic humic acid, all of the minerals that are in there are in an organic form. They can go to work in your body right away. But you don't get them in mega doses. And a lot of the information that's coming out right now on some of these novel things they're treating this coronavirus with are high doses, okay, higher doses than you would normally take. So basically what I see is maybe 50, I don't know if it's micrograms or milligrams, I can't remember, but that's what you normally get, and they're using higher doses than that. They're using an anti-malaria drug, and what it does is it punches a hole or a tunnel in the affected cell. And strangely enough, zinc, okay, has a really good effect, on treating this. And so there's a lot of guys or doctors that are now looking at this particular formulation and having good success with it. Other right now are looking at the nitrous oxide and zinc. And so it's nitrous oxide, they use a mask. I mean, they call it laughing gas. I remember having it one time when I had a tooth drilled. However, we can't go out there and get nitrous oxide, and it's not something we can do. But we can create nitrous oxide in our body. And certain vegetables do that, and certain other things, L-arginine, L-citrulline. Those two things help to increase nitrous oxide. So what happens with nitrous oxide? What's unusual about it? Well, it relaxes the circulatory system, which means that the capillaries and other blood-carrying vessels they're not stressed. So they open up, more blood goes through, and if more blood goes through, it increases the uptake of oxygen. So what is oxygen good for? Oxygen is good for everything. A lot of diseases are anaerobic. You know, they don't need oxygen, so if we can introduce oxygen into those cells, we might have a good benefit from it. I'm going to speak about that next week. Anything else? Karen? I don't know if she's with us. She was working on that panel. So we can go off the deep end and go any place else you'd like to go. Seems awfully quiet. Anything? Any other questions you might have?
I have one for you. I have one for you, Dr. Lou.
Go ahead.
Have you ever had anyone that is super sensitive to supplements, where if they need certain supplements, but if you take them all together, they actually make you weaker? How do you overcome that?
Well, you would kind of like by trial and error. You know, you got to find the offending ones, the ones that are offending, and maybe try to find a different form of supplement. Not everybody can do. That's why I can't really say on a call how much you should take,
Right.
Because everyone should take a different amount. I mean, if you're large, like big, like I am, you might take one amount. If you're small, you probably would take less. You don't need as much. So it's hard to make that determination, and the way you do it is by trial and error. Or you can go, there are different biofeedback devices that will give you an indication of, before you even begin to take these things, whether you're going to have a sensitivity to it or not. And sometimes when you take them together, you have a sensitivity where otherwise you would not. So it's kind of a trial and error thing if you're going to supplement. If you went to a traditional guy, he would go to your back and give you little injections, a whole bunch of them, to try to find out where your sensitivities were. And of course, there are devices now that are available that don't do that. They check the stress in your body to see how how vitamin C stresses you. Does it stress you? Does it not? How much can you take? You don't want to take so much that you get to bowel intolerance, but you might need more this time of year than you do it some other time of the year. So that's how you handle that.
Okay. I was just
a lot of
wondering because,
hands-on.
well, I know I tried a muscle test and that seems to help, but then when you get multiple ones, then it's like, I'm good with this one, I'm good with this one, I'm good with this one, but when you put all three together, something's wrong.
Yeah, it happens. And there are guys and ladies out there that do that. They use what they do is they test it's a galvanic skin response. So they send the frequency, in this case, of one of those supplements to your hand, and it measures the resistance between your fingers and the palm of your hand, the back of your hand, and you get either a cohesive or a chaotic response, and it measures the intensity of both of those. So by measuring, it's like a lie detector test. So by measuring that intensity, we can find out whether, in fact, you have a sensitivity to it or you do well with it, and then you make adjustments based on that. So you can do it with food, you can do it with supplements, you can do it with bee stings, any number of different types of things. And of course, I did that for 6 years. That's what I did, where I would have this connected through the internet around the country, and I would be sort of like a first responder before the doctor even saw his patient or the practitioner. I could give them an energetic printout on where the energy blockages or sensitivities were in this person's body. And that would give them the area to look. They're looking for energy blockages or looking for sensitivities, whatever it might be. So it's a good thing if you can find somebody who does that type of stuff. It'll answer your questions more quickly.
What would they have a certain degree, or how would you like search for someone like that? Let's say in Florida.
Well, anyone that does it is somehow involved in the health field, you know, okay. Or medical field or whatever. And in some countries that's used as second opinion. And I'm not sure if quantum infinity can actually do that. So I'm going to step back and wait until I check that out. Then I might give you another answer maybe next week. Okay. We may be able to do it with quantum infinity, but I'm not sure. I mean, my background is slightly different than most of the people on here, but I did that type of work, you know, and I did it remote, and I started early in the morning and finished late in the evening. I mean, I did so many of these things. So now you can. I believe, if I'm correct, I know you can do this remotely. I know you don't have to be connected. I'm just really starting to understand the quantum infinity and the genius. So as I get better on that, I'll give you more information.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You bet. Anyone else?
Yeah, I normally do Native American sweat lodges, but because of the sheltering, they've canceled them. I have a portable infrared sauna, and I want to use it, but I bought a meter, and the meter shows that it has high EMF. Is there any way, and I work on a computer, is there any way I can protect myself from the EMF?
I think maybe so. I mean, there's a lot of things we can do for EMFs. I have not pursued. Some people create jewelry and things like that help to absorb the EMF. I began to work together with another practitioner on a way to, at the cellular level, protect. Okay, I mean, there's a product called shungite. I don't know if you know what that is. But shungite it looks like coal, but there's only one place in the world, I believe it comes from someplace in Africa, not Africa, Russia, and it's able to absorb or block EMF. And so what we hope to be able to do is to take the information imprint of that, okay, not the product itself, but the imprint, and be able to get to use that at the cellular level to some extent. And this all applies not only to EMF but to 5G. There's a lot of discussion on 5G and how it may impact cells. So right now that's all speculation. I don't know enough about it to say whether or not it does do what they say it does, but I know one thing, that these 5G towers are going up everywhere, and they're different than 4G because they put out a tremendous amount of power, but only for a short distance. So what you don't want to be is close to one, you know, and it's kind of straight line. I mean, it doesn't bounce off of anything and go anywhere else. Can't get really through much of anything, so it's easier to block, but it's going everywhere. And the goal is to have these. I forget who it is. Maybe it's Elon Musk or one of those guys. Wants to put 24,000 satellites up there that are going to broadcast this back down to us, and so there'll be receptors on the ground and transmitters that transmit up, and so we have no way of being sheltered from that unless, you know, like we have a metal roof or something on our house, maybe that would shelter us. But we are trying to come up with a way to address this, and right now I'm not sure. So we're looking at it, but the EMFs, if you don't want to get them, you got to get something between you and them, okay, at this point, like metal.
So I actually have shungite. Do I put it inside the portable sauna?
Wouldn't hurt. You know, again, if you can get shungite, let's say you have a source of EMFs outside or 5G. There are people that have incorporated the shungite into paint and painted the outside of their house with it, or the inside, you know, the walls. And that will block, to some extent, the EMF, or at least absorb it. So the answer comes up, yes. But does it work if you take the imprint? If we use the information of shungite in a quantum field, will we get the same benefit? Jury's out. Don't know. We're trying to work on that. So there are things that are going on that we would like to address, but we have not been able to get enough information to know whether or not it's really going to work. So it doesn't pay to go out there and tell somebody this does that when it doesn't do it. We want to be sure it does. I'm working on that with a couple other guys. When I say guys, they're doctors.
I read that the epicenter in Italy, where the coronavirus was the strongest, they actually have the 5G.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion on that and how that is going to affect the cells. Where the virus has been the strongest, in Italy is where it's always been the strongest. They have a lot of polluted air there too. And that air, in concert with other EMFs and other things, is going to lead to a lot of lung issues. So people are compromised. And this affects people, particularly who are compromised in their immune system, and particularly the elderly who are compromised in their immune system, because they've had more time to be exposed to all this. And when I say elderly, I mean elderly doesn't necessarily mean 70s and 80s. There are younger people that are elderly and elderly people that are younger. So, it just depends on your general health, what the impact is going to be. So, 5G is a big thing, and some people see it as a threat. I'm not sold on it, that it's beneficial, but I'm not convinced that it is necessarily a causal effect. I don't know. But it isn't going to go away. I mean, I think we go to 6G, and 6G is beneficial. It's sort of like far infrared maybe, and the idea of this portable infrared?
It's far infrared, I think.
Far infrared, yeah, really good. That really pulls out toxins out of the skin. I think that's a great thing.
I've heard that the 5G is actually activating the coronavirus. I mean, I don't want to get into conspiracy theories, but there have been some studies done, and it's also good you can with the meter, the smart meters, they're highly dangerous too, and you can opt out. I mean, it's $7 a month to do that. Well, here in California, or you can cover it. I mean, there's a lot of protective things you could do. But with the 5G, you really want to make sure you don't have many crystals in your home, because they magnify the 5G.
They do. I didn't know that. I know that there is talk on 5G, both on the conspiratorial side and also on the more practical side, because of the tremendous amount of power it puts out. Now, if you are radiating power, I mean, there are certain frequencies that are more dangerous than others, and one of the things I tinker around with is ham radio, and of all the frequencies available, there's one in particular you don't want to get near, and it's not the highest, in hertz. It's not the lowest in hertz. It's 6 meters, so a meter is 3 feet. This 18-foot wave, that's the most dangerous, and you don't want to be near that antenna, because it's putting this out even at 5 watts or 10 watts or whatever it is. It's enough to hurt you. So, you have to be very careful on frequencies.
What did you say you cover the smart meter with?
Foil would work.
Yeah, I'll come looking for you, because the smart meter actually broadcasts. Yeah, what's that?
You could Google it. There are some different ways to do it. I think foil is the most effective.
Yeah, just a piece of aluminum foil, because it's a high hertz. In other words, it's like your cell phone, higher in frequency, or like I'm on a phone that is not connected to the wall. Well, this frequency is not particularly harmful, but if I put aluminum between me and the receiving unit, I wouldn't be able to talk on it. So the same thing happens if it's 5G. But the problem with 5G is your electric usage is broadcast to a sending unit, and you put a piece of aluminum over it, they're going to come looking for you. You know, what are you doing? Well, I don't want this thing. You know, I just don't want it. But they're going to have to come look, because you would not be reporting your usage to them, the electric company, that is. So, can we make a change internally at the cellular level? We're trying. We're coming up with plans. I mean, I hear so many different things, Karen. I don't know whether, in fact, those things will work, you know, but we are basically trying. So we don't want to come out with something and say, here, this is the magic bullet, when all we're doing is charging somebody money for something that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There are some, did a sequence of a series of webinars with David Robinson. So David makes the holograms that you can put on your phone, and for like, I think it's $35, you can get enough holograms to put on your phone, your computer, and your car, inside your car. And they're on the website. They're on the Quantum Life website.
Yeah, again, it's not something that, you know, I have a lot of knowledge on. You know, mine is kind of more on nutrition and how to do this and how to do that with the body. Like I say, you know, I can't go out there and do what we can't do, but what we can do is with natural things try to make changes. And the difference, of course, is not only are we doing this with natural product, we're incorporating the quantum field. So we kind of supercharge what we do. People don't understand it. I can't say I fully understand it, but I've seen the benefit of it, and we're going to continue to improve upon it and try to get some benefit, like we will from what we intend to do next week. We're going to go out there and show people ways to upload more oxygen into their cells. So that can't be a bad thing, I don't think. It's a good thing. We give you more uptake. What's that?
We're doing all we can.
We're doing everything we can, Karen.
Mm-hmm. I put 3 codes up there for Maria, Tammy, and Pam. Those are the only serial numbers that I have so far. So if anyone else would like to text their serial number in the chat box, I can do yours during the webinar too and send it to you.
Why not? I mean, right now you can get this this panel for free. Next week it'll cost you, right, Karen? I don't know what it costs, but we're going to offer it at a reasonable price. But what we're looking for, really, Karen, I'm looking for is input. I mean, what do people really think they need? I mean, I know everybody wants to stay younger, so that's a no-brainer. We'll do one on anti-aging. What else? What else would people like to see? What's that?
Sleep.
What was that?
A sleep panel. Yeah, to get a good night's sleep without the stress and, you know, things that normally keep people awake at night.
Okay, we've worked on sleep. I've worked on sleep because that was an issue for me. So we have put together, I will put together a program. Should I call this a program, Karen, or a panel? I don't know exactly. But we will include those things that help you. Now, some people have sensitivities to melatonin or other different things. I mean, I don't do particularly well with melatonin. So would rather use melatonin in the quantum field than add it as a supplement in my case. But again, it's up to you. And that part of it I can't for sure tell you because I don't see anybody here and I don't have anybody in front of me to test or anything else. So I'm not going to get out there and tell you how much to do because I just don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
I would like to know about chronic inflammation. My HSCRP was 11, and I had food poisoning last year, and it went to 78. I don't know what it is now.
So inflammation is something you'd be interested in?
Yes.
Yeah, a panel on inflammation. Actually, I'm running one right now with my daughter that I have on a different device, but she is on that right now. And so what comes along with inflammation and everything, any kind of an injury or whatever might cause inflammation. And so we could do something like that. We got to get a format, Karen, which we're going to introduce first, because it takes time to sit down and do the research and put this together. In my case, I can go out there and get what I think are the important things, but how to actually write it is my problem yet, because I'm relatively new at doing it. So, yeah, we can do that. That's a good one. So we got what? We've got oxygen uptake, we've got sleep, we've got inflammation. Write them down so I can crank them out. What other ones?
Have you ever done one for like rheumatoid arthritis or any of the arthritis family? Or is that more?
Not directly.
Is that more
No.
information?
Well, we would not directly address it as that, but what we would do is give you those ingredients that would help that type of thing. So we don't want to go out and claim we're treating anything. That's
Right.
not what we do. But what we do is we help the body adjust and make changes. If there are imbalances, so all of those things are imbalances, we can correct the imbalance.
Right.
True.
Okay.
That's what we'll do. So that would fall in inflammation.
Inflammation.
Mm-hmm. Basically what it is, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do a quick demonstration of how to get your serial number, because there's a few people asking how to do that. So if you want to take a potty break, Dr. Lou, now's a good time to do it.
You know what I'll do, Karen, while you're addressing that, I'll put another log in the fire. How's that?
Okay, perfect.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay. So you go to the, first of all, you go to your client records, and hopefully you've been putting the custom panels with the 3 capital A's at the beginning, because then that puts all your custom panels at the top. And they're much easier to find because everything's in alphabetical order. So I'm going to click on Dr. Lou's Digest, and then you highlight all of the items, and then you would click import. So I'm going to click import, and there you see your serial number. So if you can copy that and just paste it into the chat box here, if you're not able to do that, if you can just type it in without the dashes.
I don't understand where you went to get that.
In your client records.
What is the client record? Is that on a website?
Let me go back.
Is that something that I have?
There.
Do I have to go to a website to sign up?
You would need the Quantum Infinity.
Oh, is that a machine?
Yeah, it is. It's on the quantum-life.com. And you see it there. It's $499. And I'm not sure how much Dr. Lou is going to be selling this panel for, but because you're on the webinar, you'll get it free. If you purchase, you need a Quantum Infinity to be able to run it. And we have somebody that does a demonstration on the Quantum Infinity. She does actually a session. She does a navigation every Tuesday, Tank the Nurse. And you'll see that. You'll see the webinar schedule on the website too. And everything is also on the Facebook page, Quantum Life Apps Facebook page. So if you don't want to go to the website or look through emails, you can always go there. So when you're at your client records, let me go back. So we choose Dr. Lou's Digest panel from client records. And then click start. We don't need to do a scan to do this, to get the serial number. So there's Dr. Lou's. You just highlight, and then you would click import, And I just need that number. And that stays the same. That's your serial number. So that never changes. So I'm going to get out of there.
And I'm back listening too, because I have to know how to do this as well.
Okay. I'll run through it with you, Dr. Lou, because I want to send it to you tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, I can actually do it now. Would you like to do it now, Dr. Lou, so we can do a demonstration of how to do it?
Yeah, let me go get my iPad, okay?
Okay. And then for those of you that already sent your serial numbers, I'm just going to bring that up on the screen again. If you want to write those down or just put them in.
Karen?
Yeah.
This is Pam.
Hi.
Hi, Karen. I was just trying to put my code in, and for some reason it says there's no data there.
Oh, that's strange.
Yeah, I thought so too.
It said it's successfully shared.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder why it's doing that, because I did have my phone on airplane mode earlier, but it's not now. I took it off. I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't be able to generate the code.
Okay, well, I'll try it again and see if I can get it.
Are you doing it the same way?
Yes.
You got to create. You have to create first of all. So you would need to, from your Quantum Infinity, you would first of all need to create the panel.
Right. Go in and put the name in it. The AAA with Digestion.
Yeah. So let me just go back to that. So
and the birth date.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Karen, I just brought up the Quantum Infinity. Go to Client Records, right?
Okay, great. Okay, Maria,
you go to Client Records.
Yeah, so Maria's doing this too. You have the spinning wheel. So that's great. So then you go, so from here you go start, no to avatar, no to, unless you want to, you can click yes and put in their personalized signature. Yes to add panel.
I'm to first name right now, okay?
Oh, of course, you've got to create it, Dr. Lou. I forgot you haven't done that.
No.
And you can't see the screen. So it's got Dr. Lou's, so 3 capital A's.
Okay, that's under first name, right?
Yeah. And then a space.
Doesn't bring it up. Why is it not bringing it? New, right?
Yeah, new.
First name, okay.
3 capital A's, then a space.
3 capital A's.
Then a space, and Dr. Lou's digest or digestive, and then last name panel.
Okay, slowly for me.
Okay.
Okay, a space Dr. Lou.
Yeah. The last name panel.
New York. L-O-U. Last name is Panel.
Yeah. And then today's date.
Oops. E.
You need to put something in the box.
A-N-E-L. Okay. And then date, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Something in the box, okay.
Yeah, and just put digestive issues.
Yeah. Okay, let's put today's date, though. Don't forget, I'm not too quick on any of this stuff.
That's okay.
Today is April 10th.
Uh-huh.
Is that correct?
I think so.
Yep, April 10th.
Yeah.
$2,020.
Yeah, and I'll send, I'm going to send, so Dr. Lou's typed out a protocol. So I'm going to send that to all of you with the photo that Dr. Lou has chosen for this panel.
And Karen, for the people that are not on these things, you could probably just send out the protocol and they can see it, can't they?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Yeah, but I'll send this to the Word document that you sent. I'll send it to everyone on this webinar by email.
What are the identifying characteristics?
With the photo. Digestive issues.
Okay.
Or anything. It doesn't have to be what I put. You can put anything there. Relating to digestive issues. Then you click Start.
Okay, analyze client image. Do you need an image?
No, you don't need to do that.
No?
No.
No spectral voice?
No, you can do that later.
All right. Start, okay. All right. It wants
So
to scan, but you don't scan. You hit that squiggly thing, right?
Yeah. And no to
that little starfish.
Yeah, right now.
You want to add new items. Is that yes?
Okay to that, yeah.
Okay. All right. All right, now I'm back to where it says AAA Dr. Lou panel. Okay, what next? Hit that blue thing onto the right of it?
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder why nobody's panel. Okay. So then, yeah.
Hit import.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've got my serial number now.
Okay, great. Actually, I already have yours, Dr. Lou.
Yeah, but I need the import number.
Yeah, so I'm just going to type it in. So I'm just going to copy and paste that. Let's see if you get yours, because
what do I type in where it says import, Karen?
I'm actually going to text it to you. I'll put it. I'll text it to you.
Don't forget, I'm using my iPad now, so I'm not getting text.
It's a very short code, so you could just type it in.
Okay, so I'll get it off my phone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So export, put in your.
Okay. So
this is how you would do it. This is how you export panels too. If you want to make a panel and share it or sell it, we do a 60-40 split. You get 60%, we get 40%. And you can see all the custom panels on the Quantum Life website under custom testing panels. So if that's something you would like to do, just email me and I'll send you information about doing that. Okay, so Dr. Lou, let's see.
Just give me the import.
It says successfully.
What is it?
It says successfully shared, so I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why that's the case.
Well, I don't have a code yet.
No, I'm just taking it to you now, Dr. Lou.
Okay.
There you go.
And you know, to write these panels is not difficult.
No.
It's all this other gyration that makes it a little. Oh, I see it. RW, capital R.
Let's see if yours works.
Okay, just give me a minute. R W. That looks like 8.
For all of you that I've sent it to, you should also receive it with the image. I'm not sure. I don't understand why it's not, but I'll send an email to each of you individually. The ones of you that have sent me your serial number, and if you haven't, if you would please email it to me at Karen@quantum-life.com. So I just typed that in the chat box. Yeah.
It's Maria. I'm just wondering how come that process seems to be more involved than just going into the quantum and using that little spinner wheel thing to get the new ones.
It's a long story and I won't go into it.
Okay, but as long as I got them, then I'm good, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Because I didn't do it the way that you just described it. I just went into the thing and clicked on the little spin wheel and told it that I wanted to import what you just gave us.
Yeah.
Then you hit OK.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Cannot change name, it says.
But you don't have the panel though. You didn't create it on your.
No.
I don't know why it's saying. Is it saying for the rest of you? Cannot change name?
Well, I can't even get the data.
It says to me, please enter new category or the name.
Well, you did. And you clicked on it, right, Dr. Lou? You clicked on it in your.
Yeah. Okay. And when I click OK, it says cannot change name. New name must be not empty and must contain something. I can't read it without a magnifying glass.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'll send everyone the codes by email.
Okay.
And
we'll do it later, Karen, okay?
Yeah.
We'll do mine later.
Yeah, so I'm just putting my email in there again. And I've got a list
of example, new name 123. I don't know what that means.
I have no idea why it's doing that. Let me go and take a look at the name. Dr. Lou's digestion panel, but yours doesn't have to say what mine says. You can call it whatever you want. I mean, it doesn't have to.
Yeah, well, I'm up to import already, but it's asking me to enter new name, enter new category or file name.
No, you just click on the one. You have to click on it, highlight it, and then click the blue circle with the eye. And then click import.
Let me go back.
Highlight it first, yeah, and then click the blue circle with the eye, then click import and put in the code.
It doesn't want to go back. I'll have to cancel it first, I guess. Okay. Go back. Okay, so I'm back to AAA Dr. Lou panel, okay? I touch that. And then I highlight the eye, touch that.
Mm-hmm.
Now I hit import, right?
Yeah.
Please enter new category or the name or file name.
No, it's already there. You already, maybe you didn't, did you highlight it? You must have highlighted it first and then click on the blue circle with the eye.
I don't think I highlighted it. Back. Okay. Now let's try it. Okay, import. It keeps saying the same thing. Please enter new category or the file name.
Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. I'm gonna send it to my daughter right now and see what. Well, let's get off the Lucky. Let's get off the webinar first, and then I'll send it to everybody. I'll send new codes. I'll just generate new codes for everyone and email them to all of you individually.
Okay, thank you.
Oh.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Okay,
You're
good
welcome.
night.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Lou. Thank you so much, and thank you all for being here. And we'll see you next week for anti-aging, how to live
No, next week is oxygen uptake. Oxygen uptake.
Mm-hmm. Great. We need that. Yeah. Thank you all. Please be well. Take care. Be safe. And we'll see you next week.